Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Fire Up. Yes, I am the Motor City Van Mouth back on Fire Up. Have a good crew and get used to seeing this crew every week. Okay, off to my left, Candy Ebling.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Fire Up.
Now, the way things are going to be over the next few weeks is we're going to do 3 regular Fire Up shows along with a Fire Up Wisconsin sprinkled in there as well, so you'll be able to watch everything else. And you never know. And who knows? Maybe I'll even throw a Fire Up Michigan in there every now and then to keep it real. So, want to make sure that we're able to go out there and mix it up for you and talk about lots of different markets as well. With that said, my longtime partner George Eichhorn.
I'm glad you didn't say partner in crime.
Well, you have been my partner in crime on the air. You have been. You got more cotton picking mentions in that book, aside from my wife, than a lot of people. But 40-some years gets you in there a little bit.
All right, good to be on the show tonight, guys.
And Jeremy Ballerick, welcome back to the big show.
Yes, sir. Great to be here.
All right, give you an overview of what we're going to talk about really quickly. But before I go ahead and do that, just so you know, Fire Up is being broadcast around the world. The audio version of Fire Up can be heard on iHeartRadio, Apple, Spotify, Google, wherever you get your podcast. Please hit the red subscribe button on YouTube, South Florida Tribune. We're striving for 1,000 subscribers. Please also comment, like, and share the broadcast. Want to be a guest? No problem. Chat room is one way to do it. Or send your topic ideas, southfloridatribune@gmail.com. If you want to advertise cost efficiently, call me at 954-304-4941. We broadcast live on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. Website, www.southfloridatribune.com. Twitter @TribuneSouth. Candy Ebling is normally behind the scenes, but now she's right in front of us. So there you go. And also, I'll be releasing a new book in the next 2.5 weeks or so. It's a media-related book that really everybody can relate to. It's called Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. So, you know, the one thing I'll mention about the book is whether you met individuals in person or not, it doesn't matter. You can learn from everybody. And that's the one message I want to make sure I get to my readers, that it's not just a media book, it's something that everybody can benefit. With that said, so all right, 3 topics tonight, but they are loaded. All right, the NFL is encouraging player participation in flag football at the 2028 LA Olympics. I got a little footnote there. I remember in 1984 I was at the LA Olympics, and there are no shortage of facilities for these particular events. All right, I'll start to my left. Candy Ebling, what are your thoughts about flag football?
According to the International Federation of American Football, an estimated 20 million people in more than 100 countries currently play flag football. Part of the problem with the NFL and them trying to get regular football into the Olympics is that, according to the International Olympics Committee, there's around 10,500 athletes from 206 national Olympic committees that compete in the Paris 2024 games. The problem is, with flag football, you only have 5 people on the field at a time. When you're playing NFL, you have 11 people on the field, and that you have a much bigger team, and therefore you would have too many participants. So they have to limit the number of participants per sport, and that's why you don't see a regular football on in the Olympics, because right now they just don't have the capacity for that many athletes. I read around 474,000 girls under the age of 17 play flag football last year, 63% more than in 2019. So that tells you that this sport is expanding exponentially. The NFL actually changed its Pro Bowl format to the flag football. So it's gaining traction. It's gaining speed. I really like it. I mean, I'm glad that the Olympics are expanding and doing some other sports that weren't your typical sports that we always watch, because I think they're trying to go for a bigger, wider fan base. And I think I like it. I'm excited to see it. I can't wait. That's my 2 cents on it.
All right, Jeremy.
Flag football, it was fun And that's how we got kids to be introduced to the game to begin with. It started with the kids that were too young to be tackling and stuff like that. And now it's branched out to where you've got girls and boys playing together more, and it's introducing everybody to football. And I think it's a great idea. I just don't know how it's going to work out with the scheduling, with how full the Olympics is already. It's basically a 24-hour sport almost, the way it goes through with everything they do. Where is it going to fit and what are they going to replace it with? That's the only thing where are they replacing it from?
Yeah. Okay, George.
Good
Smoking.
evening, Ken.
Well, I'm sure they thought about that, Jeremy and Candy and Scott. The thing is that they also brought back baseball and softball, which I'm tickled pink about. I know, and they're bringing that back. I know that's for another day, another show, but flag football is a little bit of a stretch for me, only because you never hear of like a competitive league. Okay, most of these sports, okay, there's an international aspect to it. Oh, the United States has got its men's basketball team and they're playing for the world championships. Fill in the blank. We send our gymnasts to the world championships of gymnastics. Okay, I'm sorry, but I don't know about the organization behind flag football, and we have until 2028. Obviously, we got a few years before we host the Olympics here in LA. And I hope that all that gets ironed out. So if there is an organizational structure to flag football, I'm just going to have to research that a little bit more. That would be one of my main concerns. And of course, they are on a schedule that dictates national television. So I'll be interested to see how much of that gets on the prime time NBC broadcasts, meaning flag football, because as we all know, America loves football. And then hopefully the flag football will be part of a showcase, if you will, by NBC as well. I'm looking forward to it. It's just that I don't understand all the worldwide competition, although Candy, thank you for sharing all those statistics with how many are playing. So I guess I'm going to give it a B. Let's try it and see.
Yeah, the only thing I'll say about it, I remember playing it in elementary school, so I didn't really have to go out there and be very, very fast. Okay, and I can move around back then. Uh, just so you know, not quite that way no more. I was intrigued by it. And again, if they were using it at the Pro Bowl, they obviously saw some sort of intrinsic value there. And if the NFL is encouraging participation from its players, we'll see which ones that ultimately participate to begin with. Well, let's face the reality. Okay, they're having a lot of international games is what you have. Anytime you have a lot of international games, then you're selling your sport to the world, but in a different way. I remember back in the days when he had the World League of American Football, how many great coaches that were out of there and taught the game and the people in Europe. And of course, now you see several games, international games being played. So, yeah, I like it. Lighthearted. We'll see how it goes, but you're going to have 5 years to figure it out.
Right.
And what can I tell you? There's a lot of research and a lot of time. I actually, and I remember back in the 1984 Summer Olympics that baseball was a demonstration sport. I don't know why they were took it out in the first place. I actually went to Dodger Stadium myself and saw it was great. So hopefully baseball is there to stay. But as far as flag football, sure, why not? All right. Next topic of the night. WNBA finds Liberty players for declining interviews after finals loss. All right, go to a different order this time. Jeremy, what's your take on that?
Well, if they were able to find Marshawn Lynch for not doing his interview at the Super Bowl, they should be able to find women players too. They want equal rights. Everybody gets the same treatment.
I like that. I really do like that. Okay, fair enough. George?
Yeah, I mean, this is consistent with what the NBA has done before. Obviously, when players or coaches pull this kind of stunt, I'm sorry, there's no excuse for that. Even though you lost 3-1, you didn't win the championship. I'm sorry, you still have to meet the press. You have to talk to the media, win, lose, or draw. It's that simple, especially for a championship series. Come on. You had reporters there that wanted to know what was going through your mind or diagnose this play for me or rehash this. I think it's just childish for somebody to say, oh, well, we're not doing any interviews. I'm sorry. And obviously, I'm sure the WNBA commissioner and Commissioner Silver obviously were not happy about it either. So I'm glad they did step in and tell them that this is not acceptable at all.
Okay, Candy.
This goes back all the way to, well, I'm sure it goes back even further, but I can go back all the way to 2004. Gary Payton was fined because he didn't talk to the media. Marshawn Lynch didn't talk to the media. We have a couple of Grizzlies. Dylan Brooks was fined for not talking to the media. Obviously, Jeremy already brought Marshawn Lynch up. Kyrie Irving hasn't talked to the media. They all get fined for it. I sat in the press conference after the Miami Hurricanes debacle of a game where they lost because they didn't take a knee. I sat there. I listened to the quarterback. He's only in college, and he came out and he talked to the media. The respect respect. He came in and talked to the media. There was 5 or 6 players plus the coach all came in after a devastating loss that they should have won a game. Is it fun? No. Do they like to do that? No. But they have a responsibility to come in and talk to the media and let the media ask questions. Now, if we ask a question that they can't handle, say no comment, or say I respectfully choose not to answer that question, ask something else. Obviously, we all know that you are not happy that you lost that game. You lost the series, you lost the championship. Nobody would be happy. But part of your job, you are hired to play basketball and then to talk to the media afterwards. That is part of the job. That goes with hand in hand. You do both. When you win, you go and you talk to people. So you have to expect that even when you lose, you have to talk to the media.
Well, I have to agree with you on Miami Hurricanes. Mario Cristobal was a tough week for him. He had to talk to everybody and own his mistake in public. And, that's one of the few times I really didn't ask a whole lot of questions there. I decided to let my colleagues talk about it to gauge reaction. There comes a time in this business you have to just simply be a sponge. And that was one of those moments when I decided to do that. Not like I was going to do anything to pile on. These kids kneel down. Well, that's you. Well, I'm sure you probably would. But remember one thing, though. I have to work with these people. You don't.
No, but I'm just saying, if I was in the press, I'd want the one question asked that's the hardest, because that's what the fans really want.
Right.
We always talk about that when we watch these pressers with the coaches of the teams we love while they're winning. And they say, well, why aren't they answering that hard question that we want asked? Because I get questions from fans. How come this isn't asked? I said, I'll tell you what, I ever get my press pass and get to go and be in that conference, I'll ask that question. Because you know what? It's what people want to hear.
All right, let me finish my thought, Jeremy. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Everybody gets an opportunity to finish, and I'm going to do that. Okay.
Yes, sir. Probably.
All right. So with that said, Mario Cristobal, you got to remember the way things work out. They're very, very protective of their coaches, and a lot of times, if you've been in any kind of environment like that where there's a presser, all your PR guys are going to be very protective of the head coach. That's just how it works in the business. Again, the Hurricanes have treated us great. I have nothing against them. But don't you think? But remember, you're talking about George Eichhorn and I, who were in a stadium where a man died.
I know.
Think about that. We were in. So to me, it's just a football game. Don't tell me that every big name coach hasn't made a mistake or two that he hasn't been saying. Let me finish. Okay. Every coach can be second guessed until their heart's content. Okay. But George and I went to a game where somebody died. It doesn't get any worse than that. These guys just lost the game, man. That's it. They lost the following one as well. And I'll be writing a story on the combination of games the Miami Hurricanes take on the Clemson Tigers this week. We'll see if they can rebound from those 2 tough losses. But the Canes in that particular situation lost millions of dollars because of that play. But getting back to the WNBA, I'm not going to dissect the Hurricanes game anymore. It's 2 weeks old. WNBA. First of all, they're on Ion television. Nothing against Ion television, okay? But they're not considered a big player, right, compared to some of these other networks. WNBA should be thankful that they're even in existence. And I'm going to tell you, when you don't cooperate with the media, you are bad for the brand. Period. Now, I will admit, and I'm not a WNBA fan and really wasn't even paying attention to it until many years ago when the Detroit Shock were playing ball. But for me, the New York Liberty, I bet you right now, like you guys have alluded to, that they're being lectured from every end. You cannot do this. I don't care what kind of a fine you think you're going to hit these people with. It doesn't matter. The fine to me, the crime was you didn't make yourself accessible at the biggest possible time. Now, I have to confess to you, okay, I was rooting for the Las Vegas Aces, and I'm happy Becky Hammond won her second ring. So I don't care about the New York Liberty anyways. But, and I really like Becky Hammond anyhow. But George and I'll tell you, Candy, of course, has been with us too. You know, if you want to promote your sport or free advertising, okay.
Absolutely.
The good, bad, and the ugly. And I hope that this is a lesson that the WNBA learns all the way around, that our margin of error for going out there to promote our sport, this is a bad publicity hit. We cannot have this, period.
Amen.
Yeah.
All right. Now we go on to the National Football League. So I'm going to go to each and every one. Yeah. The game that you're looking forward to seeing this weekend. Candy, obviously you will, but go ahead and start.
Well, most of you know, or maybe all of you know, that I'm a Green Bay Packer fan. And surprise, surprise, surprise. Why would I be looking forward to Green Bay Packers playing the Denver Broncos? And let's face it, they're not having the year that they wanted to have at all either. Neither is Green Bay. But the Denver Broncos, my boss is a Denver Broncos fan. So there's a little bit of, what should I say, at stake, for this game. Plus, honestly, after coming after a bye week and we're told Aaron Jones will be back, I really want to see him and I really want to see Jordan Love go against a defense that's not quite as strong as some of the other defenses that we've gone against. Although they're pretty good. But I need, against the Detroit Lions. I know your defense really chewed us up and put us out pretty much. I really want to see Jordan Love succeed. Like, even Aaron Rodgers has come out and said Jordan is better than what he's been showing. So I'm really curious to see him. I need him to have a breakout game, to be honest with you. And I'm hoping it would be against the Denver, because Denver isn't, doing as well this year.
Yeah,
but I also need our defense to go against. And I've always been a Russell Wilson fan ever since he brought his last year to Wisconsin, and he did so well at Wisconsin. He's just a good person. So do I want him to do well? No. Because my love of the Packers is more than my love of Russell Wilson. So I'd really like to see this game, and it probably is nobody else's game of the week, and I'm okay with that. But I stand behind my team, and I really would like to see them do well, because I think they really need to. And if they don't do well coming off this bye, then I think there needs to be some answers. And it could be some people's jobs if they don't.
All right. Well, much less the fact that your boss is a Broncos person. So we'll just see whether or not the Packers can put up half of what the Dolphins put up, a 35 spot instead. All right, so what I'm going to do is go to the bobblehead of the show, Ballrick, okay? Because you like that. Move your head. What we're going to do? Actually, we're going to go out there and rename Ballrick Mr. Bobblehead, okay? Effective tonight, okay? Because he's all over the planet. All right, so, and next time, we'll even add to your bio, okay? Mr. Bobblehead. We had an Mr. Opinion. Now we'll have Candy will arrange that and put it in your bio. All right, Mr. Bobblehead.
Fantastic. Well, you know what I'm going with. I'm going with what possibly could be the game of the week in the middle of the day at 1 o'clock. The Detroit Lions travel to Baltimore to face off against the Ravens. We're talking about the number 7 defense versus the number 1 defense. The number 1 run defense versus the number 10 defense of the Ravens. The number 2 passing defense versus the 17th defense of the Lions. That being said, we're also talking about the number 1 ranked quarterback in the league right now, according to PFF, which is Jared Goff, and the number 2, which is Lamar Jackson, because the new OC has him throwing more out of the pocket. 70% of his passes are being made from out of the pocket, which is totally different than what we've seen in Lamar Jackson's career, and he's been doing it well. He's about 2% less than what Jared Goff has for completion percentage right now, which is the highest that Lamar Jackson has had in his career through 6 games. So I'm really interested to see how this plays out. And what I really want to happen, much to the chagrin of every Ravens fan, is that Riley Patterson gets to kick the game-winning field goal from 40 yards from the left hash where he hasn't missed yet.
Okay, well, you know who's manning the chat room. All right, George, get your opinion. I'll let Candy go to the chat room.
I will, Bogo. Forward down the field.
Yes.
Oh, boy. Well, I'm going to go with San Francisco at Minnesota. You know, the 49ers are coming off a terrible loss to the Cleveland Browns. I don't think anybody expected that. And Steve Purdy did not have a good game. And now you're going to Monday Night Football in Minnesota. And as we all know, Mr. Cousins, the quarterback for the Vikings, has a terrible record on playing on national television. We don't have to go into that too deep because you guys all on this show know that. He is just terrible on national TV, Monday night games, Thursday night games, take your pick. So to me, obviously it's a crucial game. Minnesota, they got little room for error now, as far as, you know, the Lions being 5-1 already. So the Vikings are really, really under the gun right now after winning the division last year. This is a crucial game for them, and it is not going to be easy because we know San Francisco is a good team, one of the best teams in the league. So that'll be an interesting Monday night affair. I'm looking forward to it. And it's got a bunch of variables going on, especially regarding Purdy and Cousins. And I think it'll be a great game. And we'll see what happens. I mean, you know, and then a week after that, well, we won't talk about that now. There's another team we know that's going to play on Monday Night Football the week after that. Where?
Yeah, right. It's a good thing Jeremy isn't on Monday nights anymore with us anyway. He'll be on Thursday nights. So I'm sure he'll be able to go out there and we'll even give him a topic. Okay. There you go. We know what he'll do, but we know the hat that he'll wear will be on Thursday night anyways. But no, kidding aside.
What's your game, Scott?
Well, I'm going to get to that now. Yeah, I'll get to that right now. I'm actually going with the Miami Dolphins at the Philadelphia Eagles is what I'm going to do. And the reason
why I'm going to lay a bet on that.
What's that?
I was going to lay a bet that you were going to take the Miami game.
Well, you know, there's ways to collect on the bet. You know, I'll give you if you we can talk about that in privately. Okay, but anyways, the real point is now Miami gets a real test, and they did to do it up I-95 like 18 hours away, 18 hours away. Yours truly took the drive last year, anyways. But you got Tyreek Hill, Tua Tagovailoa, and you have Jalen Hurts, who's looking to rebound against the Jets. If that isn't enough intrigue, then I really don't know what there will be. And now this is going to be the time of the year where everybody talks about the Miami Dolphins getting off to a really good start. But when you start to get in the month of October, November, and all of a sudden the weather becomes a factor, we'll see the test of how good the Dolphins really are. But I'm definitely looking forward to watching that game on Sunday night. I don't have a time to watch a lot of games anymore because I'm so busy with other stuff, but there's no doubt I'll make time to watch this one. You know, let's face it, the Dolphins we know have a lot of great wide receivers, and Tua Tagovailoa, if he stays upright, you know, I just want to see if Tua can go out there and finish 17 games first before I go out there and jump on his bandwagon. I don't jump on anybody's bandwagon these days because the way the NFL's played now versus the time when George and I grew up watching it, even, with us being the oldest. I know, Jeremy, you've been around for a while, but the way we ended up where you're more run dependent than you are passive, it's different. But with all due respect, Tua, this will be, if you want to make a believer out of me, you better have a big night against Philadelphia, because I'm not still drinking the Kool-Aid about that 70-point thrashing that you went out there and laid on the Denver Broncos. I'm really not. Tua, you got to do way better than that.
That being said, the weather that night will be somewhere between 53 and 51 degrees at game time Sunday in Philly, because they are the Sunday night game, right?
Yeah, right. Okay. Right. Oh, no, thanks for
between 8 and 9. It starts at 8 o'clock. It's supposed to be 53. By 9 o'clock, 51. By the time the game ends, it should be around 50 to 49 degrees.
All right, well, that's fine. I mean, the Dolphins have played in worse conditions in Buffalo, but all of a sudden the locals down here complain when they get to 60 degrees. So,
right, I'm going to say the average temperature in Florida down there is 70 to 80 degrees at that time of night at 8 o'clock. It doesn't get to 60 till 11. There's a big difference there.
Right.
No, what I'm saying is they're starting out 10 degrees less than what they end the game at in Miami.
Yeah, no, that's a really, really super point. I'm glad you brought up the weather. I really am glad that you brought up. Thank you very much.
I looked it up just as you were discussing it. So that's
good. Well, no, I appreciate those kind of updates as we do things here, because again, we're here to educate, entertain, and inform. And you ended up using the I word called information, and that's what you did. But we'll find out what the Dolphins are really made of. You're talking about the Philadelphia Eagles coming off a hard loss.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they are. They're not, and the Dolphins are going to get tested this time. I mean, people in these parts here, hey, they like the early wins, but you know what? They got to get to the playoffs, and the Dolphins in recent years haven't been doing it. So that's it for me, anyways. So, Candy, why don't you take us to the finish line?
Take us to the finish line.
You got it.
Let's see. Well,
how about the end zone? Yeah.
Well, if you see that red subscribe button, it should be sitting over there by Jeremy there. If you see that red subscribe button, hit it. Subscribe to our channel. We are so close to 1,000. We're trying to get there. Will you be the 1,000th subscriber? Like, share us. If you like this show, go check out our channel and see other shows that you might like. Inside the Pigskin, 108 Stitches Baseball Talk, No Limits, Pundit's Pundit, Sports Exchange. There's a plethora of shows that you're missing out if you haven't checked out other shows on our channel. Also, go to www.southfloridatribune.com. All three of the guys that are on this panel here tonight have written for South Florida Tribune. Go check out their columns. They are all great reads. You need to be reading. You need to be going to our website. Obviously, if you like to listen to podcasts and you can't always watch us on YouTube, you can catch us wherever you get your podcasts. Google, Apple, iHeartRadio, all of those places. Any place you get podcasts. Go listen to any one of our podcasts. Then, of course, if you want to advertise or sponsor us, call Scott, 954-304-4941. If you want to be on a broadcast and be a guest, send us your topic ideas to southfloridatribune@gmail.com, or just comment in the comment section here on the broadcast. We would love to have you. We put all of our stuff live on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube. And then most important, or I shouldn't say most importantly, but also Scott wrote a book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It's a book that's coming out in the next couple weeks. Buy it for yourself, buy it for a gift. Just go out there, enjoy life, and buy the book. George, how can people get a hold of you?
Well, they can subscribe to the South Florida Tribune and find me under the Motor City Tribune banner. And there's a link there that Candy created right at the end of my column. in case you'd be interested. The book is still available. It's called Detroit Sports Broadcasters on the Air. And Scott's in the book too. And he got some great interviews with many people. Hey, I resemble that statement, Jeremy. Yeah. So thank you for purchasing. But the book was a lot of fun. It's a great read, and we had such great announcers in Detroit. My God, the list is just a mile long, led by our dear friend Ernie Harwell, of course, who wrote my foreword for my book. And you can see me on 108 Stitches. I love baseball. Inside the Pigskin, the Sports Exchange, Pundit's Pundit, and this great Fire Up show. So I look forward to seeing everybody. To reach me, just try gicorn@yahoo.com, or else you could find me on LinkedIn under my name, or on Twitter, SandGSports99. So glad to be part of the network and working with all of you.
Jeremy.
Well, as you know, I also can be found on the SouthFloridaTribune.com under the Motor City Tribune heading, where I write about various different events throughout the NFL, but mostly game reviews, game previews, and any Lions news that I can find. I try to put it into print because guess what? It is still better to read than hear half the time. Some of these people that are out here, wow, that's all I got to say. That being said, you can also find me on this channel on Thursday nights, where I'll be on the Fire Ups, 3 different Fire Ups throughout the month, and the Fire Up Wisconsin show. Then you can also find me on my channel, which is Kneecap Biting with the Motor City Lions. I go live for a post-game show, usually on Mondays. I do my Friday Lions Fan Cave chat with the normal pregame show. Unless we're playing Thursday night, then I have to do the pregame show on Wednesday after my NFL Roundtable talks. And with us having a Monday night football game next week, I got to do it Sunday. This is crazy.
No, that's right. It's better to be busy than not be busy. More power to you. I know you've come a long way with your kneecap biting, and I commend you for the effort and the that you're putting in. And I know that as time goes on, it'll continue to grow. You've come a long way, anyways, as a writer.
I want to say thank you to the three of you, and because me allowing me to put that tag at the end of my articles, allowing me to say what channel I'm on at the end of every show, it means a lot. And thank you to everybody that's out there watching, because you know what? If they're not watching, we're doing this for nothing. We do it because we love to do it in the first place.
Right.
It's not because we're trying to be paid, but it would be nice.
Well, again, welcome back, Jeremy. Thursday night is your night. You can find Jeremy Ballrick every Thursday night after 9 o'clock following Pundit's Pundit. Pundit's Pundit's a great show. I just love producing that show. And George and I do both of them on Thursday. And it's good that you have your spot on Thursday night so you can focus your other efforts on what you're doing. You come a long way, but I think you're so far ahead. You're so far behind for what your potential could be. But that's part of the growth process anyways. It's okay. That's what we all shoot for. So meanwhile, great show tonight. Ralph Williams is part of our rotation. He'll be on like at least three times a month, but he was off tonight doing a banquet. So meanwhile, on behalf of Candy Ebling, myself, Scott the Motor City Madmouth, George Eichhorn, and the bobblehead, because that's what I'm going to call you, Mr. Bobblehead, okay, Jeremy Ballrick. Thanks for joining us on this edition of Fire Up. Take it home, Candy, and we'll see you next Thursday night.
I think you said it all. Good night, everybody. Have a good one. Thanks for chiming in.